guys. Cooper worked so hard helping me get elected, and so did so many others, many teenage Republicans, so I'm always so grateful for everything they do, and proud, very proud of you and everyone here. Thank you for having me today. I tell you what, Georgia teenage Republicans, this is an extremely important group because you have a big, big future ahead of you. And the reason why you have a big future ahead of you is because, unfortunately, the people behind you, so to speak, have failed your generation. Congress has failed your generation. And that is something that I'm constantly upset over. I have 3 children also. They're ages 23, 21, and 18. And I'm disgusted at what our country is becoming for the future of our children and for your future as well. All of you guys are just coming off of an incredible year where you had your schools shut down, your activities shut down, you may have lost your jobs, people lost their homecoming, proms, sports, graduations, and this is an outrage because of Dr. Anthony Fauci, who used American tax dollars through a third party and funded the gain of research in the Wuhan lab, which helped a virus that was spread between animals turn into some sort of monster virus like Dr. Frankenstein into a virus that spread between humans. And this is what has caused sickness all over the world and deaths because of COVID-19. If you saw the Senate hearing this past week with Rand Paul, thankfully, he is exposing Dr. Fauci's lies. And we are so grateful for that, and that's going to continue. I introduced the Fire Fauci Act back in April, and I'm grateful for my co-sponsors. We're adding co-sponsors every single week because the truth is this. Dr. Anthony Fauci lied. His emails have shown the truth, and because of his lies and his involvement in this terrible virus, it has ruined the lives of so many. And unfortunately, ruin your lives when you're young and just starting. That angers me because that affected my children too. Every single one of my kids lost their jobs. They lost their school, they had to go home. This isn't fair to your generation. It's not fair. Now we have the Biden administration that is making it very difficult for our country to rebound and recover. All of their policies are hurting our economic recovery. Just now, this past week in Washington, I just got back yesterday. Do you know what the big talk is about? Bringing back the mask mandates. Talking about shutting down again. Telling businesses that they have 2 choices. 1, to either shut down because cases are rising, or 2, force all of their employees to take a vaccine that's not FDA approved and they may not want to take. This is where we are now. This is going to hurt our economic recovery, and what does that do for young people? It hurts your chances to grow your future and start out your adult life. This is a major problem. The Democrats are not an American party, they're a party of communism. I used to call them socialists, but once I've been in Washington, D.C., I'm reading their bills every single week, understanding and listening to what they are saying. I don't call it socialism anymore. I call it communism. The same kind of communism that we're seeing in Cuba is also the same kind of communism that has taken over the state of California. We're just 2 weeks ago, when I went for a trip there to have an America First rally with Matt Gaetz, we were canceled at 4 venues. This is how the radical left works. They silence you, they threaten you, they harass you, they intimidate you until they can cancel you completely. That's communism. That's what China does to their people. They silence them. If people in China disagree with the CCP, the communist government, what do? They silence them. They make their life difficult. They may end up throwing them in jail like political prisoners, or putting them in some kind of facility like they do with Muslims over in China. This is communist behavior, and this is the same behavior we're seeing from the Democrats. This is not the type of government that we want in place for our children's future. This is not the kind of government that's going to help you achieve and live your American dream. And all of us should be not just concerned, we should be outraged. Outraged to the point where you become activists. I don't mean violence, I mean activist. And activism is not posting on social media and complaining about things or complaining to your family and friends that you feel safe talking to because you know they're Republicans. Activism is getting involved and stepping up at a different level. Activism is calling your elected officials, no matter if they're Republican or Democrat, and telling them you're the taxpayer and what you want. It doesn't involve harassment, it doesn't involve cussing, it involves you taking this on in a professional manner and making your voices heard. Because here's the deal, everyone. If you are a working adult and you are paying taxes, the government works for you. And you have to remind the government that people like me that are elected, you pay my salary. You pay for the buildings, you pay for the light bills, you pay for the government. And when the good people in this country, the patriots, step up and remind our government, our Congress, our Senate, our federal government, your city, your county, your state, remind them of who you are and refuse to back down, do not be silenced, then they'll start listening to you. Because I'll tell you something about politicians. They care about donations, they care about bad articles, and they care about votes. So you have all the power, and this is what I keep spreading this message. You have the power. And adults in this room, it is our responsibility to be vocal and be activists for these kids right here in this room. Because let's talk about the kids in this room. They're already being activists, aren't they? Yeah. They are. Very proud of you. Now, they shouldn't be looking at their future right now wondering, will they have gun rights? Will they have free speech? Will they have the ability to start a business? Or will they have to think about taking a government job like AOC's Antifa jobs program that she wants to put in place called the Climate Corps? There shouldn't be choices like that for our kids. There shouldn't be choices like that for teenage Republicans. They should only be thinking about finishing high school, making good grades, their activities, their sports, hanging out with their friends. They should be thinking about what college they want to go to and how they plan on paying for it, whether it's with a scholarship or they're going to work, or maybe they're going to a trade school and what kind of trade they want to learn. These are the choices they should be thinking about. They shouldn't be worrying about the fact if we're going to be shut down because of COVID-19, a man-made virus that Dr. Fauci is very much responsible for. They shouldn't be worried about a wide open border where nearly 200,000 people are coming across the border invading our country, and we have an administration that could care less. These aren't the things these kids should be worrying about. They shouldn't be worried whether skin color is now going to become an issue again in a great country like ours where we have overcome racism. You see, we have achieved so many things, and we should be grateful for our achievements. We should remember the good words of Martin Luther King, where he said, judge people by their character and not the color of their skin. But yet we have critical race theory being shoved into school where they're trying to say that simply because you're born a certain skin color, you're inherently racist. They're training children to be racist. We also shouldn't worry about our children being taught that there's no such thing as gender. But that's what the Democrats declared on my first day in Congress on January 3rd when I was sworn into the 117th Congress, and Nancy Pelosi had it written in the rules that there's no such thing as male and female. You see, the outrage of that is evil because it's a direct attack on God's creation. Because in Genesis, it tells us that God created man and woman. In his image, he created us. But yet Congress, the Democrat-controlled Congress, has directly attacked God's creation and declared there is no gender. That's why you see everything coming out of Washington as completely evil. It disgusts me every single day. Our kids shouldn't be taught this in schools. There should not be a sexual agenda for elementary school, middle school, high school. But that's what the Democrats want. Now you see, back to California 2 weeks ago, the Democrats want our entire country to be like California. And that is a very scary reality. Because in California, Republicans are defeated. They don't have a voice. They get canceled every single day. And when they want to make their voices heard, the radical left descends on them in horrible ways. They attack their businesses. They attack their reputations. They attack everything about them, from people all over the country, to the point where everyone gives in and they give up and they're canceled. It's a terrible way to live. But it also taught me a little lesson. I realized why Nancy Pelosi is so unapologetic in the way she holds the gavel and reigns in Congress. She's used to being able to cancel Republicans. And that's what she has done to us since January 3rd. She led the Democrats to kick me off my committees and I did nothing wrong. And then you just saw this past week, they kicked Jim Jordan and Jim Banks off the January 6th committee. That's an outrage. It shows you that this is nothing but a sham investigation meant to target President Trump, target Republicans in Congress like me that objected to Joe Biden's Electoral College votes, and then worst of all, to target you, because that's what they really want. They want to intimidate you to where you think you can never say to the government, I disagree, you're doing something wrong. That's what this setup is all about. Well, teenage Republicans, I have something for you. You know, the great thing about young people is you're brave and courageous. And that is a wonderful gift from God. And I'll tell you why. It takes a lot of courage to start out in life. It really does. It takes a lot of courage to go into the adult world and try new things and walk into a room and be brand new and learn something new or earn a position or get a new job or make your place on the team. Those are hard things, but God gives you courage. I'm going to ask you something. Hang on to your courage. Hang on to your courage, because when I go to Washington, D.C., I take with me courage, and my courage comes from my faith in our Creator. Because I know this, God is bigger than all of them. And with our faith in God, we can accomplish all things, no matter how big and scary the enemy is. So while things look dark and bleak and we aren't sure what's going to happen, this you can know and this you can trust. God loves you. He has your best interest in heart. And he loves all of us, and he does not want evil to win. As a matter of fact, he will never allow it. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting. I'm fighting for you every single day. And you have my promise because, like I said, I'm a mom. And my kids are right around your age. And that means there is nothing I will not do for your future and for my children too. Thank you very much for having me today.